I missed you all. We are here. We are ready to go with 2 games to go. And my boys are up top. This is proud dad moment stuff. We are a decent chance here that the boys go 1-2, but a very, very decent chance that the people trying to catch up fall just short of Andrew in first. Now, it was a fun day yesterday. We had a few different captaincies, and Jake was the only one in the top 10 there that captained Nathan Cleary for his 115, which was incredible. So Jake's had an awesome week outside of really, Carrigan and Turbo there. The 230 points looks lovely alongside Reece Walsh with his 92. He even had Latu Fainu get a try and a try assist there. So a few good things across the board for him there. And God, Aaron Clark 108 was sexy as well. So the lay of the land. For those that want to follow along, did all the research last night trying to work out how the boys hold on. And unfortunately for Jake, second, third, or fourth is going to be where he's at. He can't chase Andrew because they both have the same players. So Andrew's sitting there with ICAT and also KPP. Jake is in the same boat. So he's going to fall, unfortunately, 21 points short, aside from any of the updates that do come following all of the games. Considering that, Jay-Z has had an incredible game, so incredible week there. So Andrew's at 993 with the 2 players to go. Jay-Z Jordan there in third. He's on 1112 with 2 players to go as well. But the difference here is his players, one of them is slightly inferior. I'd say Donahue is on par with the other 2 boys in KPP and also ICAT. But he does have Jaden Brayley, who's coming off the bench. Other weeks he's been the starting 9. This one he is not currently, so we'll see if that one plays out exactly that way. But in that case, if all players continue, play a normal game, score their averages, we should see him not be able to catch up. So he's sitting there 35 behind Andrew with Brayley and Donahue compared to ICAT and KPP. So all going well. Andrew should hold off Jordan in what it was an incredible comeback, incredible week and an incredible season. Alan, unfortunately, this will be him and a crazy week for him, 1127. Just the 1 player to go in the 2 players to go in KPP and ICAT as well, so he can't catch up. Tyson, an incredible week from our boys in the private group. We have 1, 2, and 5 right now. He's at 1,094 with ICAT there as well, and Donahue. So fairly similar, unless Donahue goes massive, 100 and something. Something crazy. So he won't be able to catch Tyson. And if Donahue goes 100 and something, then Jay-Z will win over Tyson anyway. So he's out. Unfortunately, Dan, Pete, and I believe Ryan as well are all a little bit too far behind just with the amount of players that they have left as well. You're kind of in this situation needing sort of 4 players plus for Ryan here in 8th. He has 3 players remaining, so he can definitely improve in the leaderboard, but is 100 needs 140 from his 3rd player kind of thing. Sam is the only other player I believe that's in that top 10 that can catch up. So you've got Ben here, who's almost 100 points behind Sam in 9th. So Sam has to cover 140 on the dot to catch 141. Sorry, he has to catch up to beat Andrew, and he has 1 trade left, and it has to be for a wing fullback. So knowing that there's only 4 teams left, it pretty well has to be Trey Fuller, and that's who I would select. So as much as I love Trey Fuller, I'm going to be unfortunately death riding him today, hoping for a low one so that Andrew can win. So that's Jay-Z, the worry. I think he's probably lesser of a worry than what this one could be, more for the fact that Donahue not expected to get like a 70, 80 plus game, and Brayley off the bench, if it's 30, 40 minutes, probably a 30, 35. And really we'd be fighting off injuries to lose this one. Now that could happen with the chasers here, but he's got the same 2 players as Andrew, and he's 140 from Kurt Donahue. There's a lot of people with Kurt apparently, and also likely Trey Fuller, who he's going to bring in here. So in that case, 2 pair of 70s, an 80 and a 60, a 90 and a 50. It's doable. Scary at the same time, but that's how I'm following this. The rest of today. My team is in absolute shambles, down to 16, LKT's 12, White's 31, Turbo's 30. I think I'm 930 with 2 to play. So from what was looking like a top 3 or 400 for myself, is looking at, let's try and hang in the top 1,000. So not about me at the moment at all. It's about these two guys up here and everyone in the top 10 here who's had an incredible season. Something I haven't done before, just a 50 for me. So yeah, anyone to get in that top 50 is just an incredible effort. Tremendous work that you've put together. And then you've got Nige there who has, is just always up there. So 17th for him with the couple of games to go. And all the other legends will go through in our results video. So just a quick little touch up on round 27. I didn't want to do the video after Thursday night because, of course, I did not bring in Walsh again. I was just thinking before, I'll go through my review, but I think just bringing in Walsh 3 weeks ago when I, not doing the turbo loop stuff up and having to make some trades there, I still would have made 2 trades that week. It just wouldn't have been getting a looper in Friday, which killed me there. It would have been Walshy and Tino. And in that case, I would have had Walshy for the three incredible 90s. And I think probably sits me, if I finish around this 859, I think it would have sat me somewhere in the sort of 400s or inside that top 400 or something like that. So little picks, especially at the end of the season, have plagued my finish the last few years without without Walshy this time. And yeah, just how it goes. Some people I'm seeing just on an incredible run, hitting 1100s and stuff the last few weeks, and other people like myself just happening to fall away just a little bit. But yeah, another one for the reviews, and we'll keep getting better and better at that as we go along. But yeah, some incredible scores there. Haas was my captain. If you had Walsh, Katoa, Munster, you're absolutely flying in this game. And then it went under 50 from there. So there were a few players that were slightly concerning, and one of them was Jerome Hughes with his fracture. But for Eli Katoa to leave this 78 to the final ground was incredible work there. A 56 average for him for the season. It'll be very expensive to start next year. Walsh, he gets up to a 51 average, and if he's looking like playing like this next year, then people are going to start with him. What was interesting was he's hit 4 90s in a row, which we believe has never happened before. Absolutely incredible. So him at 51 now, he could have been sitting there with like a 45, 46 average, and people would look to start with him, especially if the Broncos are shaping up to begin the season well next year. Payne Haas, 76. He ends up with a 74 season average, which is going to be very, very expensive to start with next year, but Nathan Cleary with his 115 pushed that average up as well. Munster ended with a 50 average for the season, a bit up and down, and the 50 average probably where we expected him to end up at, but a great score to finish off the season for anyone who does own. Carrigan, a really slow end to the season, and these are one of those decisions that can hurt you. Last year without Haas, at the end of the season, he was a very, very good scorer, and this year for the last month, he has been very, very poor. So these, as I said, one of the ones that can hurt you. A 54 average for him to end the year. Wishart came on for 55 minutes with Hughes being off, ends up with a 31 average to start to finish the season. Will come in at a decent price if he gets an opportunity. And then Trent Liero, for those that have had him, he's scored well, but in this one at 24. So again, the ups and downs of the final picks for the season. 48.5 average. So yeah, he just shows that he can be a little bit all over the shop. And then Pappy ends with a 19 concussion and a 44.8 average for him. All right, in that second game, I did end up taking DCE in this one. Thought, for the nostalgia for the final game, he did kick a left-footed field goal, which is pretty fun to watch. But this was the Aaron Clark show. I'm not sure if this is maybe just a bit of a preview as to what they're going to look to do next week in the finals game, but where's this been for the last while? And they didn't even need to play people in this one. They couldn't make the top 4, and this is a game they decided to go Aaron Clark for 80 minutes. Wild. Did anyone captain him? I don't think so, but he was impressive to say the least. 59 in pure base, 41 tackles, 1 miss. He had 3 turnover tackles, 6 offloads, and 8 TBs. What a freak. And a 57.7 average after playing 40 minutes to begin the season. Wow. Wow. Sam Healy as well. 76 for him, an incredible game. Big tackle numbers. Fish finished well. Again, massive minutes. I'm not sure what the theory was here. Maybe they're going to try and smash these guys for more minutes over the next few weeks. So we'll see how that one plays out. But they did have injuries and the like in this one as well. You had guys like Jeremiah Toa with 35 minutes as well. But yeah, some decent scores in here. Hopawade 59 with a couple of tries. Simpkin a try himself for 58. DCE 54. Fine. Yeah, if you buy someone like other weeks. People have been bought and they've got injured, so in this one wasn't the case. Tanner Boyd's 48 there. Rogers 38, a bit of a down one. We had Tommy T with his sin bin, but he was on like 31, 32 early and then really stalled. And this game just was an error fest, especially from minute 20 to 40. It was really, really bad. And, I had Turbo and DCE on some really good scores early, and then they fell apart with the team errors and then, some of their mistakes as well, unfortunately there. So he finishes the season with a 41.5 average, and people might look to him next year as well. Tommy Talau. And then shout out to Rocco Berry. Didn't look good for his shoulder. And then Aaron Shop, it sounds like an ACL injury for him. Very, very unfortunate there. Moving on to Roosters and the Bunnies. This wasn't a very fun game for myself, apart from Angus Crichton. With Crichton there, a 64 was good with the try. He was like 10 in 30 minutes and then I think picked up 20 in the last 10 minutes and then had a good second half as well. But Nwangi Tuaze had him for about a 6-week stretch. I think I got the 80 first game, so very happy about that. And then 28, 23, 29, 35, 32 over that next stretch of games before selling him. And then the last 2 weeks, bagging 7 tries. And I think he got a triple a few weeks ago for a 41 as well. So he's definitely all over the shop, but he's so talented. So congrats to all owners of him. Squads that have had him in Supercoach as well. It's just hundreds for fun over that three game stretch there. So very impressive for those guys. But overall, a fairly low scoring game. Fantasy wise, Colin Matungi 53, full 80 for him. Just absolutely frosted in the middle. Daniel Tupou 54. We had Walker's 53, a solid game on return for him. Teddy's 52 with 3 try assists, 2 line breaks. Good stuff as always. We had Gray there, 49, just an impressive player. Wong off the bench, doing the business. Watson off the bench, 49 minutes. It's getting even lower and lower. I think he got taken off in the back end of that game, then came back on again. So 2 stints for someone we thought was a absolute workhorse type player. They're just, hopefully they're just, getting him ready for finals because it's been a weird one. But they are winning in recent history, so good on them. Savala's 42 in this one with 2 line breaks. He started really well. He's like 33 at half time. I was following him very closely with Andrew playing him or looping him in that one. But Duncan, 43 average to finish the year for him with a 41 in this one. If the Souths are in and popping next year and he's on that edge, I think he can have a really, really good season, a 50 plus type season, and will be one of those interesting mid-range guys that we do look at. Who's going to finish somewhat, he's going to start somewhat similar to this price point next year. Then down the line, we didn't get a try from Johnston. Ashton Ward got a try, not as good of a game from him. Naf White for myself. Unfortunately, PPM not as great with them dominating. Tackles didn't have to be too high. No real attack in there for Naf. And then got the early spell when they were winning. They need him more next week than they do this week, which was what was interesting with the Warriors there. Brandon Smith did get a game. We had Humphreys, 56 minutes for him, so not ideal at all. In that one for 26, you had Walker in there for 58 minutes. In that one, a 27 average for him is wild. We get Cam Murray for a 17 and 1 game, so he should come in with a little bit of a discount next year, which would be nice, but just great to see him out on the park doing the thing that he loves. Moving along. All right, we've got the Goons, the Dragoons, and the Penrith Panthers there. What an incredible match this was for a couple of players, especially here. Cleary 115, doing absolutely everything. Tackle numbers were wild. 28 for 1, 3 forced dropouts, all the kicking, plenty of running, a try himself, and 2 try assists. We haven't seen that type of scoreline for him in a while, where he's got involved in both tries and the assists, and ruins his average for next year. Beautiful, but great work for captainers there. 68.8 average for the year. IPAP 72 for him. Someone asked me, he's like, who do I pick in draft? It was some very average players, and he's like, oh, actually IPAP's available. I was like, yeah, get around him. He should play decent minutes off the bench, and 72, one of the better scores of the week. So well done to that young man there. Jaden Sewer, good try for him. Back to a decent score there. Isaiah Yeo 68 in this one. For those that have held on, that worked out really well to get the full 80 in the last week. And then Damien Cook, 62 tackles again. He would just be absolutely battered. The last month, he's helped his owners get massive scores through tackles, basically only in this one, a turnover tackle in there as well. And then Ghana, you had Alamotti, Flanagan, Casey McLean, and Lindsay Smith all get 50 plus. So a great fantasy scoring game. And none of those guys are too relevant for next year. Casey McLean will be too expensive, I think. Isaac Tungo, another lackluster season of 36.6. So not someone we expect year to year to get back into the sort of 45 plus range. Thomas Jenkins, great season for him. Outscored Tungo by 3 points on average. So 44 from him. Jacob Little comes into next season at a 40-point average. We'll see how things play out. But he just knows how to accumulate. Be cool to see his PPM. I think it's very, very close to a 1 PPM. There's been plenty of games where he was playing 30 minutes throughout the season. Liam Henry still managed a 40 average season somehow. The minutes that he's been provided with week to week has been so low. And then we've got Halangahu, 39 for him. He comes in next year with a 40 average, but yeah, we're excited about him. But we've also got Couchman's coming back. We've got Dylan Egan. So there's a lot of young forwards in this side. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the opportunity. You got Pacifica Tonga as well, doing some good work there. But they lose Jack DeBellin in the middle next year. Dylan Edwards, 23, picked up the extra rest. As soon as I saw Dane Laurie come into the 17, I said, oh, good chance that Edwards will get a spell, or at least one of these players in, the spine there. And Edwards was the guy, 219 meters, but just a very lowly 23 score. And then my boy, Larkin King Tonga, when I needed him most, a beautiful 12. 4 missed tackles, 2 errors in this one. Just didn't feel like he was on the park, and then missed that tackle to finish the game for that Almodi try. It was absolutely amazing. Loved it. Every second of it. Titans Tigers for this one here. 36-28 in this one. Campbell 74, as he does. Ends with a 60 average for the season. What an absolute jet. He will most definitely lose his wing fullback tag next year and will be just a half, I think. So will be a very interesting 60-point player. But do you just go Cleary instead, or do you go for Campbell and hope that the Titans can improve? Brimson in the centres worked out well for him. 2 tries, 2 line breaks, and great to see Luai finally get a good score. Brian Kelly a double as well. Both are more a 60 in this one. 1 try and 3 turnover tackles. So that he just seems to find the white chalk there. And yeah, a solid season for him. 53. Only played the 68 minutes, of course. So we start getting a good score out of him, and maybe a chance at a 70 after all the 48s and 50s and whatever else, and it gets taken off, but that's fine. Terrell May, 58, so goes back to sort of where he was for a few weeks, and a 73 season for him. Congratulations to Terrell and everyone that held him for the whole year. He'd be one of our only players that we've held all year, and a few of the guys are talking about as well. Is he the highest percentage owned guy that has been held for the entire year? It's very rare to get someone that isn't a cheapie from the start and it's like 100% owned or close to it, like May, and you hold them all year. Very, very rare that it happens. A lot of people last year, bought Galvin and then held him for the entire year. Some sold late. With Terrell, no origin, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely the highest owned, I think, that has been held all year. So thank you, Terrell. You're a legend. Tino, 58 for him. Been a really great addition to the side since I brought him in the last month. That was one of my better trades in that time period, and a 58 in 58 minutes, and finishes with a 52.5. So well done to him. Mo Fotuaika has actually had a solid end to the season as well. And Keanu Keeney, 49 for him. 284 meters, 7 tackle breaks, with a line break, a try assist as well. So some good stuff in there. Probably would have hoped for a little bit more, but knew that this was in the range of outcomes. Comes into next year with a 26 average, so he will be in everyone's sides. Will he get a full discount to 26 average? I think maybe in the early 30s to mid 30s, which will still pick him anyway at fullback for the Titans. So I'm excited for that one in wing fullback. It's always a tough position to get going in the season. Latu Fainu there, 46 for him. In that 57 minutes was a good effort. Taylor May, 42. Chris Randall, 38. He's had a up and down season, been moved around plenty. And then Seyfarth ended up with a 40 average for the season, but a 39-minute effort here. Stafford Toa, most of us did sell him at the correct time, so great to see him at that cheap price for us, and we won't get that again. Carter Gordon, 1 in 80 minutes, so welcome to first grade for him. Unfortunately, 4 errors and 6 tackle breaks. And then the final one yesterday was the Doggies and the Sharkies, 6-24 here. And the Doggies, unfortunately, not performing very well. But he got a couple of good scores out of important players, one of them being Preston, a 57 for him. Mainly in tackles and runs. He moved out the centres for a while, so that hurt his potential increase in scoring. It was like 45 in 45, so I wasn't liking that personally. And for Andrew there, but it did slow down and got a bit of luck there moving to the centres. Nicho Hynes, 66 for him, was a great game, but a lot of that is to do with the amount of kick meters that he got. Didn't run the footy too much, tackled well, picked up some goals and a try assist there, but yeah, that kick meters is so helpful for his game. Picks him, gets him an extra 10 to 14 points there in this game compared to others if he was down in like the 200 meter kicking type range, and puts him from low 50s where he was and has been this year into that mid 60s, which we know and love him to be. Reid Marnie, almost a full 80 in this one. Maybe this was a good way to, if he's going to go back to the bench next week, then they can get some work out of him there. But Curran, 59 for him, for anyone who jumped on. Worked out really well getting the full 80 minutes in a couple of weeks in a row. Max King, a solid season for him, a 50 average. He had Adam Fanua-Blake, a 48 in this one. Not too bad, but low minutes. Didn't need him to play massive, considering they couldn't gain anything from this game, apart from just a really confident win, which they did. And Dogs are just gone, unfortunately. They're going to lose very, very well next week, sadly. Then you've got Billy Burns. Great try that was, actually. He loves it. Loves getting amongst it. Galvin's 43 was okay, for those that did play him. Blake Brayley just had a really tough game here. Minus 13 in the end, and picked up a try. Over 40 tackles and only got a 42. So a little bit annoying for Andrew and other owners. Ramian, that could have been a Harodi try. Sad. What else we got? Tracy's 33. No Karaz. Burton 27. Eero 28 for those that jumped on. Just, of course, comes back from injury and doesn't get any tries, which can happen, but didn't happen all year, crazily enough. So Reid Marnie got the full 80 through the Bronson Cherry injury, which changed a few things around. Probably needed some game time, considering he's missed out on playing much in the last while. Definitely watch Eero come out and dominate next week. Expect Trindle back as well. Montoya, unfortunately, it sounds like a decent injury for him. So guys like Rinakama, Wilson will all come in, and Nari Tuala was actually really, really good. So what happened to him? I thought they had him up at like a 72. What happened there? Down to 50, but a really good game for him in that one, and Rudolph did some work as well. So we'll leave it there. I think we'll speak to Nicky today. We'll try and get him on. He can go through the final two games and maybe a little bit of a season review. Could be a smart time to do it today, so he can just finish off those last two rather than going all the ones that I've gone through. And then a bit about his season and maybe some thoughts on where he can go if I haven't given him enough time. We'll get into that a little bit later. I will be announcing the private group for 2026 sometime next week, looking like Thursday at the moment, prepping you for the NRL Fantasy Supercoach finals. So make sure you do jump on and play that one on Supercoach, guys. It's going to be really, really fun to play. $2,500 up front for winning that one, and I'll be doing content on the NRL final series and those Supercoach picks as well. So join the channel for that one. I'll put together a league once this season's done. For fantasy, I'll chuck that up there next week. And I'll be talking through the private group and how you can join and all the beautiful bonuses you get from that. And the results are speaking for themselves at the moment, with 3 guys from our 400 players in the top 5, which is crazy. So hopefully it stays that way or close to it. And wish everyone luck heading into their final couple of games. I'm very hopeful to stay in the top 1K myself. Thanks, legends, and we'll catch you in that next few videos.